Hey PC gamers, and welcome back to the PC Gamer Chat Log. I'm Lauren Morton.
And hey everyone, I'm Mollie Taylor.
And this week, Molly and I are bringing on Kara Phillips, our evergreen writer, to talk about fashion in games, which we've talked a little bit about like real fashion in games, but this time we're talking about the experience of pursuing fashion in your games. We're talking about fashion souls. We're talking about Molly's Final Fantasy 14 grinding to get her perfect outfit. We're talking about cowboy outfits in Red Dead Online. We are talking about all the work you do to look beautiful in your games of choice and how much time we have put into making that happen as well. Because anybody who thinks fashion isn't the end game of most like RPGs, of course it is.
You're wrong. Yeah.
Of course it is. Why are you doing the dungeons? We know why. It's to get the outfit, obviously. So before we go get Kara, Molly, what have you been playing last week?
Yeah, so I'm still playing Final Fantasy 14. That is a thing that's still going. I still haven't completed the tier yet, the Savage Raid tier, which I've been talking about the last few weeks.
What's progress on that?
Yeah, there is progress on that. I have done phase 1 of the fourth fight because there's 2 phases. I've done the first phase. I've like seen all of the first phase. I've seen the beginning of the second phase. But once again, real life has me in its grasp. Very cringe and annoying that I have to go and do real adult things instead of sitting inside and playing video games all day. Like, what the hell? It's very annoying that I've had to live my real life instead of living my fake virtual video game life. But I've been playing a little bit of that, but I've also just started playing this game called One Button Bosses. It's like
button?
One button bosses.
Okay, because I heard warm bottom.
Warm bottom
bosses.
It's because we're British. We don't pronounce the T.
Sorry.
One button.
Okay.
One button bosses.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like very like simplistic in its presentation. It's like all kind of geometric shapes, and you're just kind of traveling around the outline of like a square or a triangle or like a hexagon, while you just avoid like an onslaught of attacks. And it's all just one button. You just press spacebar to do some kind of movement, and you unlock different types of movement the more you play. So like you can just change direction pressing the spacebar, or you can like you'll always be moving in one direction, but you can press spacebar to like do a dash that like leaves you invincible. So it's like really cool. It's very simplistic in its presentation, but I've been having a lot of fun. And a little bit in, you unlock like a roguelike mode. So you have like different you can get like different buffs and like little tweaks to change like your run, and it's really interesting. I've been having a really good time with it. We'll definitely want to play a little bit more of that, especially now I've got the roguelike mode unlocked. I'm hooked in. And you should be able to check out my writing about that as well on pcgamer.com. So nice. If you're interested in hearing more about that.
I have been playing Fields of Mystria, which I have sent you a few screenshots of because I keep trying to entice you to play this one.
Like this magical girl.
Yes, this is the new farm sim that has got some very magical girl inspirations. I keep calling it, Sailor Moon adjacent. It's not like literally Sailor Moon, but yeah, it definitely has that like 90s anime vibes in its like character designs and the portraits, and the aesthetic of the whole game has this very Game Boy Advanced era kind of thing. It's very fun. It's in early access currently. You can't marry people yet, so this is all just wishful thinking. You can only get to like 4 heart levels out of 10. So there's no dating and marriage just yet, but I do really enjoy all the characters. They're so fun. Those games, like farm sims, always have a cast of characters that like are a little bit like caricatures or a little bit tropey. Like they all sort of have like their archetypes, right? And they do still have that in this game, but they're a little more earnest than some others, I think. And I really like how much dialogue there is in it as well. There's so many different conversations with like individual little things that every day you talk to them, they're different all the time. And on Friday nights, a group of them go to the inn and they play Dragons and Drama, I think is what it's
Oh my
called. And you
god.
can keep up with their campaign that they're playing in this RPG and which characters all of them have. Um,
That's so
and
cool.
it's so cute. And I'm currently in the summer season. I'm at the end of summer, and they've just finished one campaign, and now they've switched to DMs, the drama manager. Uh, and they're starting a new
Oh,
campaign with different characters. And so that part following that has been so cute and fun. I really like the whole thing. I love all the characters, but just those little details like that have been so much
that sounds
fun.
amazing.
It
Oh my
is.
god.
I've loved it. So I've put quite a few hours into that already. So has one of my friends. One of my friends has like put a full work week in on it already.
Oh my god.
Over the past like 6 days. Very impressive. So it's cute. I'm loving it. The other thing I did that's not actually a video game is I read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow,
Ooh.
which I don't know if you've heard of, but this was very popular in like book spaces a while ago because it's about two friends who make games together in college and their like careers after that. It like starts in the like mid 90s basically, and as I understand it, it shares like some similarities with like Brenda Romero's career and history in
Oh.
game development. Like I don't think it's like specifically based on her, but I think it has like some touch points that are familiar. And that was fun. It was interesting. Like it was definitely a good story about like, creative partners throughout your life and like the emotional toll and like running a business and the things that that takes. Some of the video game parts of it were a little bit hokey in my opinion, the way they like
Mhm.
talked about games, like the things that some of the characters said. Like sometimes they would go like book report style on
Mm.
like let's name drop a bunch of video games and then like let's read like effectively the first paragraph of a Wikipedia page about Harvest Moon. There's like literally a paragraph that's about Harvest Moon, just like explaining what it is. And I was
Oh
like,
my
I
god.
wish that were tackled a little bit more like elegantly instead of just like going into recitation phase. But overall, good story related to video games. It was a good time. I just happened to read that in the last like 4 or 5 days. So I know that was popular elsewhere. Anyway, let's go grab Kara and
Yeah.
talk about fashion. Okay, thank you, Kara, for joining us to
Yeah.
talk about all of our fashion choices in games. I want you to start then. What is the game that you've played where you're most proud of your ensemble, of what you've managed to put together through all of your playtime?
I feel like it's hard to feel proud in spending so many hours, like essentially making my characters really
Take
pretty.
pride.
But I played through Red Dead Redemption 2 recently and spent like an
Ooh.
hour essentially making Arthur look like he fits in Saint Denis. And it took so long, and then I left the the tailors, and then it went to a different mission and it wiped the whole progress. And so I spent all this
No.
time like giving him this perfect dapper outfit, and then it was just like, actually no, because I think he
So
gets a new
tragic.
outfit later in a different mission, and I feel like it did it because of that. But I was just there like, I can't believe this has happened. But I've
It's
spent
hard to
like
make him
so
fit
long.
in there. He's
Yeah,
not a
exactly.
city
Because
man.
he's this gruff cowboy. So I was like, oh, I'll give him a little bowler hat. I'll give him a new vest. Like, make him feel at home. And then it was just like, no, he must be
And then he
this.
rejected it.
Yeah, this ill, like gruff man. And I was like, this sucks.
It's funny you say that because after it wasn't my first reaction, but then after hearing you say it, I'm like, oh wait, yeah, I think I'm proudest of my fashion choices in Red Dead Online, in
Hmm.
fact, because
Mm.
I think it was like the depths of 2020 when I was playing a lot of Red Dead Online with my friends, and there are like so many outfits, as you know, to unlock in that catalog. Like some of them are more like appropriate to the setting, some of them are weird, some of them are like bright pink silk,
Hmm.
like bloomers, some of them are strange, and because it's like MMO adjacent, I would say people wear
Mm.
strange stuff in Red Dead Online. And there was like a big culture of like sharing themed outfits in the subreddit for Red Dead
Oh.
Online as well. That's probably persisted. It probably isn't as active as it was at that point in time, but I was like deep into that for a hot minute. Like I was going in like complimenting people's outfits. People would be like, what is this like piece? What is this shirt? Where can I find it? Or like, how can I improve this outfit? I'm like, you should get XYZ jacket. It's here in the catalog. I find that the color swatches for that are great and it will go awesome. I like turned myself into Hancock the Ghoul from Fallout 4 at one point in Red Dead Redemption. Like I screwed up my face. I got like the tricorn and like a jacket. I was so proud of that. That's probably my proudest moment. I like paid in-game currency I had grinded for to turn myself into a ghoul. Was it a mistake? I don't know.
Absolutely not. No, it's never a mistake.
What about you, Molly? What game are you proudest of your fashion in?
Yeah, I was trying to think of an answer that wasn't Final Fantasy 14 because I don't know. I feel like it's cheating if you say an MMO, but it is.
Molly's
Final
answer
Fantasy.
to every question is going to be Final Fantasy 14.
It's Final
yeah,
Fantasy 14.
for
Yeah,
sure.
just the question to life is Final Fantasy 14. That is that is my response. I have spent a lot of time. You know, my character, I am her, she is me kind of thing, right? She's like an extension of me. So I put a lot of like pride into her like appearance and her fashion sense. And you know, it's not always stuff that I would wear, but it's stuff I think fits her perfectly as like a person.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I take a lot of pride in my bunny girl, but if I was to pick like a non MMO answer, I was thinking on it and I was thinking, you know, like I really enjoy doing it in Monster Hunter World. I have fun. I had fun with it in Skyrim as well. But you like Saints Row and GTA are games that I love. That I like. I took
Saints
so
Row
much
is
pride.
surprising.
Yeah, and like Saints Row, like 4 especially, it has really good customization. It has like really good outfit choices, and I took a lot of pride in making my president, because that's what you are in the full Saints Row. You're the fucking president for whatever reason. I took so much pride in like making her look like badass. Even when I went back and I played Saints Row 2 recently, and the first thing I did was I drove to all the different like clothing stores because I was like, I want to make the most badass boss imaginable. And like, I don't know, that those games have really good customization. And Saints Row 4 in particular, really enjoyed that one. Really took a lot of pride in that. And it was cool as well because there's like a Streets of Rage segment where it goes into like a 2D beat 'em up game. And you know, normally when it like changes like genres or it changes like the art style in a significant way in the game, it just kind of makes you like a default person. But no, it like carries over your clothes. It like whatever you're wearing, it gets like 2D pixelized, and it was so cool. Yeah, and I was like, this is awesome, and it was worth it. It was worth all the effort around my fashion just for that moment of seeing it in like a Streets of Rage style sprite. It was cool. So yeah, Saints Row games actually outside of Final Fantasy.
That's you saying that reminds me that this is not like the little joy of changing your little outfit and seeing it change your character. It wasn't always that way. And I know I'm the oldest one in this room, but do either of you remember the debut like before times when like that was not a given, when like you would change your armor in an RPG or something and like the character doesn't actually look different. You just
pretty common in like JRPGs, I think, to have these like intricately detailed like little thumbnails of armor, and then you equip it and nothing changes. Nothing changes. That was like largely my experience growing up, was having all these like different like armor pieces that didn't actually do anything to your character in a JRPG. But apart from that, that was pretty much
Kara, do you remember any of that before times? Do you remember the first time you're like, oh my god, it changed my outfit? Or is that like always been that way for you?
I feel like it's always been that way for me but it's always been something that I've actively looked for. Like if I can go into something and be like, I'm gonna make my character cute and pink, like that's like the first thing I look for. So I feel like if I can't go in and be like, I need to change what they're wearing, then it's a bit of a turn off. That's why with Red Dead I was like, I can change his spurs. This is great.
You can change your cowboy outfit. You can change your horse outfit. Like
I gave my horse a mohawk.
Yes. And then once you get into like in RDO there were like Halloween events and whatnot, and
Mm-hmm.
like all sorts of
Oh.
weird stuff you could put on your horse. There were like skull masks for your horse. It is remains wild. Uh, what is what's like the most either of you have grinded to get a particular piece of fashion? Like
You know the
what's the embarrassing number or
You
experience?
know the answer already. Why are you asking me this? Obviously, it's Final Fantasy 14. I don't want to keep saying this freaking game, man. It's Final Fantasy 14. I think you have a similar experience, Lauren, with Guild Wars,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like a lot of dungeons have cool
Mm-hmm.
armor. So, depending on how recent that dungeon is, it's either I can run through it solo and pray, or I have to like queue for it. Pray that I don't get put with somebody who also wants the armor and then get the armor, right? So like a lot of dungeon runs. There's this thing in Stormblood, in the Stormblood expansion called Eureka. I do not know how to explain what Eureka is. It is a major grind fest. It is a major grind fest. And there's this like gorgeous tank armor. Um and it glows if you get it to a certain
Oh.
stage, it glows, but you have to like go through different stages
Oh,
of
the armor
grinding
changes.
to, yeah, so like it's like
Oh
plus
wow.
2 or something when it starts glowing. I don't know how much time I spent getting the glowing armor for a class that I don't even play. I don't even play tanks. I play tanks like 5% of the time, probably
So
even
how
less
often
than
do you get
that.
to see that armor that you spent so long trying to get? Never?
Whenever I do a hunt, because you want to play tanks when you do hunts.
At least it's
That is
bragging
pretty much it.
rights.
Yeah,
You
it
can
is. It
say
is
that you
kind of
did it.
bragging rights. Yeah, it's like I worked for this.
Mm-hmm.
I achieved this, but it's so cool. And I dyed it white, so it's like all this like pure white armor with like a gold like glow behind it. It's
That's
very
pretty cool.
cool. It's very, very cool. But yeah, that's probably the one out of everything that I've grinded for in the game. That's probably one that I've spent like the most effort and probably time as well grinding for.
Yeah. What about you, Kara?
I spent an upsetting amount of time in sort of similar to Molly saying about Monster Hunter World in Monster Hunter Rise, because each monster has its own armor set. And so I
Yes.
like as soon as I found my favorite monster, which is the Mizusune, I was
Oh,
like, I need
the
this
armor
set
is
because
so
it's got like
pretty.
these big ears with like pink tips and a white hood, and it's like sort of Kitsune inspired, but it's all pink and white. And I was like, I need this. But each time, like each piece of armor, you need different monster parts. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
keep going in and keep fighting the same monster to like get the bits that you need, and there's no guarantee that you'll be able to get that specific drop. And it got to a point that I was like smashing my head against my keyboard, like I just need to finish what I need for the hood. And then I got it, and its stats are like so bad for where I was at in the game, so I couldn't even go
No.
out and wear it because I was like, I'm gonna get one shot by all these beasts. But just having it, I'm like, my character is the cutest she could possibly be.
Could you wear it around like the player hub or anything? Which
That's
you
what I
said
tend to
Monster Hunter
do.
Rise, right?
Yeah, in like in Kamura Village, I'm just walking around
Mm-hmm.
like la la la, look at my nice outfit. And then when I have to go, I like have to gear up properly. But it's her
You just have
downtime
to change out of
outfit
your
now.
town clothes. That's like
Yeah,
extreme role play. That's great.
exactly. Except it's
Wow.
just single player. It's just me like I'm ready.
That is something that I hope they do with Wild, is they kind of started doing it in
Yeah.
World, where they've got like some sets that I think you can like transmog on
Mm-hmm.
top of your existing armor. But I really hope they go all in on it with
Yeah,
Wilds, because the armor in Monster Hunter is so pretty. It is
yeah,
so
it's so
gorgeous.
detailed.
Yeah, it's like it's chef's kiss. And I
Mm-hmm.
love a lot of like the early enemy, like the early monster armor sets in World. And when I first started playing that, there wasn't really a way to transmog. It was like, oh, you're
Mm-hmm.
stuck basically. So I really hope they go all in on the transmog stuff in Wilds. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah,
Monster Hunter
absolutely.
generally does have very cool armor sets.
Yeah.
Like because like you
Mm-hmm.
said, Kara, they're like so out there. Like they're so
Yeah.
extreme that, the reward for taking down monsters is like like you have their feathers and you're just this giant peacock, like basically for some
Yeah.
of these armor sets. It's a very cool series. I kind of, Molly, as you were talking about, oh, I should mention, I guess, what I've grinded for. I should own up to my
Yeah.
sins.
Mhm.
It's Guild
Share,
Wars
share.
2, probably.
Yeah.
I another MMO. I definitely did a lot of grinding in Guild Wars 1 as well for fashion before Guild Wars 2 came out. But I would say the thing that sticks in my mind, yeah, is doing dungeon runs in Guild Wars 2. I had my main was always a necromancer. I love a necromancer, and I was very attached to this like flamey look that I gave her at one point. Like most necromancers are like all bones or all spooky, right? And I was like, nah, she's like fire. I don't know why I decided that, but it was the Citadel of Flame dungeon in the Char area, Molly, that has this like it's got like flamey bits underneath. There's like chains on it, and the
Oh, that sounds
gauntlets
rad.
and the boots are like metal, but flames are coming through. I wanted that set so bad, and I grinded so much to get it. And yeah, my necromancer to this day is very flamey at all times, and the rare occasions that I pick Guild Wars 2 back up again. But you kind of reminded me of like the social aspect of wearing armor in MMOs as well.
It's like a
Kara,
flex, yeah.
yeah, Kara, do you play any online things where you've done fashion stuff? Like you mentioned Red Dead 2, but not RDO, and I know Monster Hunter Rise. Do you play any online stuff where you're showing off fashion?
I don't. I've just started Red Dead Online with my friends, and it's
Mm-hmm.
very much like I've just started. So I've got the
Yeah.
default outfit, and I'm like rocking up to the function like completely new, and it's so obvious that I'm new. Um, but I don't think I could throw myself into an online game where fashion is a thing, because I would spend an obscene amount of time and probably money
Yeah,
making
I
sure
kind
that I
Pressure.
am the prettiest girl at the party.
I do kind of like how like fashion, if you spend long enough in a games community, you can pretty much immediately tell how new someone is just based on what they're wearing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I
Oh
see
yeah.
someone in like a certain armor set, or I see someone with like a certain weapon, I'm like, oh, you're pretty new. I see some cat girl in like a mini skirt and a crop top, and I'm like, you this is like your 20,000 hour in this
Mm-hmm.
game. Like you've been playing this for like 5 years straight. You've never taken a day off. Like I love it. I love in Final Fantasy especially like weapons and the main flex,
Yeah,
because when
Guild
you
Wars
do like
also.
an ultimate raid, you get very shiny weapon that's like
Mm-hmm.
very distinct and noticeable. So like you'll just get people AFKing with like their weapons on their back
Mm-hmm.
or with their weapons like drawn, be like, look at me, I did an ultimate, and I'm over here like still having never done one. Like, good for you.
Molly, I think I told you about one of my earliest experiences in Final Fantasy 14. I don't really play Final Fantasy 14, but I did buy the subscription for like 1 month and download it and be like, I'll at least make a character. And I went and was standing around what
Limbs of Laminsa,
thank
yeah.
you. I wasn't gonna get it. I was standing around Limbs of Lamenza, and there was some dragon character, whatever the dragon species of player character is, wearing a crop top and with a parasol, just
Yep.
standing in the main hub, and I was like, oh, they must be really cool.
that is
Either
that
that or
is the type.
those might be microtransaction things. I feel like the like out of lore stuff is always microtransactions,
Some of
right?
it is and some of it isn't. Some of it is like event stuff, or they I don't know. I know Guild Wars has like cash shop items and stuff,
Yeah.
which obviously Final Fantasy does as well. I don't really know if Guild Wars has it or if like WoW has it, but Final Fantasy will have like specific level 1 glamour items that they add to the game as well that you can obtain in game. Through things like treasure maps. Like you could do treasure maps, and when you do treasure maps you can get like materials to make them. That's how a lot of it works. But they will occasionally release like level 1 gear that just has no stats, and it is purely designed to be like a glamored,
Yeah.
like a transmog item. So you get a lot of that as well. And a lot of people, like especially cat girls, will use their like race default outfit as well. Cat girls have a really cute skirt as like their default outfit that you can't get for any other race, and it's really upsetting because it's the one thing I miss about being a cat girl. Is, so you might see that, or like it's cool like how people will kind of mix low level gear with like hundreds of hour long grinded gear and weapons, and it all kind of comes together in this like weird mishmash of an outfit that really works. I don't know, I love it.
We've talked about some of like the ones where we spent the most time, but I want to just name like some other favorites, like other games you've played where you've really enjoyed the fashion, just to get some more like names on the table of stuff that we've played in the past. Kara, do you have like what other ones come to mind where you've like spent time worrying about your fashion?
One thing that comes to mind, which isn't like directly something that I've done, but someone that I know, like old school RuneScape, which sounds crazy
Oh
because
yeah.
like there isn't a whole load of fashion because you're like 2 pixels on a screen. But my an old friend of mine, he spent thousands of hours in old school RuneScape, like played it for years and years, and it's all for those little like party hats that you get. I don't know if you guys have, yeah, the
I've
tiny
seen
little
them.
like there's a Christmas one, there's like a party hat, and they're worth in like real life they're worth so much money now for this like 2 pixel sized hat on your character, and the capes, the like lava cape thing that you get. I am so clueless when it comes to old school RuneScape, but I know that it's a big deal, and that is like something that really sticks out to me because it just seems so ridiculous for something so simple to like have such a clutch on its players. Because if you see someone with one of those hats, you're like, you have been here since the beginning of time. So that's,
You
yeah,
are an
that's like
OG.
so crazy to me.
God, I always forget about old school RuneScape. I can't talk. Oh my god. Other games, other games. I do spend quite a lot of time making outfits for my Tekken characters.
I was gonna say Tekken.
Yeah, I do admit
Mhm.
Tekken has a customization system. It's okay. It's not like amazing, but it's not like terrible either. But like the one of the best parts for me about jumping into an online game is like seeing someone else's concoction, like no matter how ugly it is. Like it's cool. And you know, people, something that I really like about like fashion in games as well is when people do like cosplays, when people like take their character and they cosplay like another video game character. I love it. So I was running with like a Majima outfit on my Tekken character for ages because I had this like snake skin, this like gold snake skin like blazer jacket thing, and then I like did like a black shirt underneath, and they have an eye patch as well, so I like put an eye patch and this like snake skin jacket on. I was like, this is so Majima coded, it's it's ridiculous. And you'll see people doing like Leon Kennedy, you'll see people doing like doing Ryu in Tekken, which like I always love that like little crossover as well. I love seeing people cosplay other characters, like using the tools they have. Yeah, so Tekken's a good one. What
There's so
else is
much
it? Oh my
anime in
god,
Tekken as well.
there
Like there's
is, yeah.
so many people use the character customization to make anime characters. I've seen so many like Jujutsu Kaisen characters in
Yes,
Tekken. It's
it's
insane.
great.
There's
It's so cool.
Yeah, considering how like somewhat limited the customization is as well in terms of the items, it's the creativity that comes from it is like one of my favorite things about character customization in Tekken in particular.
Yeah, it's very, very, very cool. And though I didn't play it personally, I know that I'm pretty sure Fraser wrote about it on the site, was like Cyberpunk's
Yeah.
customization as well, because you could not transmog when that game first came
Not
out,
originally.
right? You
Right.
could not transmog. And I think Fraser had written about how he was running around in like low level items, in like low level gear, because he didn't want to wear ugly things or something like that.
My partner actually had a like hilarious experience playing Cyberpunk. Like he came to it kind of late, I think, but not, it was like still before they added transmogs in it. And he was running around in these like over the knee patent leather red heel boot things of some kind. I don't know what item those are. They must be really good, and that's why he was wearing them. And he like sort of forgot that he was wearing them until he climbs. The whole thing is in first person, right? Cyberpunk 2077. He climbs into like Judy's brain dance chair or whatever, I guess. And the view for that is like you putting your legs up and like getting into this like, you know, dentist chair ass thing, right? And he's just looking at his giant patent leather legs sticking out in front of him. And he was like, oh my God, I forgot I was wearing those. That is hilarious. And he actually kind of loved that he like kind of didn't have a choice and was like, I have to wear this stupid outfit. And he was kind of sad when transmogs got added. And he was like, oh, now I guess I'll just like look normal instead of like being surprised by my weird ass legs. Like, but transmogs are great. And those have not always been like a default thing. Like they're now so much more common to like be able to change the appearance separate from the stats of armor, which is I think a nod to like everybody is a fashionista on the inside.
Yeah.
Truly.
I think it's a net gain, personally. I think there is something weirdly endearing about being forced to run around in super ugly armor. There is definitely something that's like quite cute and cozy about that. But I don't know, for me, like being able to try, even if I can't transmog right away and maybe like you have to earn it further into the game or something, for me it's like a source of immersion, right? Kind of picking like my view of the character I'm playing, whether it's an OC or whether it's like a predetermined character, kind of being able to kind of make them in my vision a little bit and how I see them and perceive them, and then putting them out in the world like that. I don't know. For me, it's like a bit of like an immersion thing. It's the power fantasy as well, right? Which is why I think I like it in GTA, because it is kind of that power fantasy of like having the fancy apartments and the fast cars and like the expensive like clothes and stuff like that, right? And I think that's how I feel across like a lot of games.
Yeah. I really liked the transmogs in Diablo 4. Molly, you and I played a little Diablo 4 when it came out. Neither of us really stuck to it because that's a time sink, and we both already are the proud owners of time sink games.
Yes.
You can only support so many in your life. Other people on our team have continued playing Diablo 4, but I did really enjoy like jumping right into it. I was like, oh my gosh, you can just like change your armor whenever. You don't have to use like, you didn't even have to use like transmog tokens or anything, right?
I think
like,
it was just if you got the armor, you could use it as transmog. I think you had to like you had to like get the armor first.
Yeah, and I think maybe you had to deconstruct it to get the visual appearance
like,
or whatever.
Yeah, transmog. But like I love.
You didn't have to use tokens every time. It is because in Guild Wars you do have to use transmog tokens, like they're a resource, and you can't just like change willy nilly all the time. I loved that about Diablo. I was like, I just want to be different all the time, and I was playing, I don't know, either a rogue or a necromancer. There's necromancers in Diablo 4, right? That's what I was playing. Why have I forgotten already? And that, yeah, I like that so much. There's the freedom to change your outfit whenever you want to. And yeah, you don't have to be stuck in anything ever. The other game that I spent a lot of time and I really love messing with fashion in is Dark Souls, which is like,
yes,
sounds silly on its face, but anybody that really plays Dark Souls knows that Fashion Souls is a big deal. Like, especially when you're getting summoned or you're like doing PvP. Like you have to have good fashion. Like you're lying if you say you don't care about that. And that's one of my favorite stories that I've ever written, actually, Molly, you know, is hunting down the fashion police in Dark Souls. I think what I came to the conclusion of was like the person I talked to was mostly operating in Dark Souls 2, if I remember right. But anyway, they were like, this has been years ago, but like some of the top posts on like multiple Dark Souls subreddits like were years old, and there were people being like, someone just invaded me whose name was the Fashion Police, and they like clapped for my outfit or whatever and like did some emotes and then like yeeted themselves off a cliff and died and just like gave me a gift. Or like occasionally they would judge you poorly and like throw dung piles at you. And I was like, I need to find out who this is. And the reality is like it's kind of multiple people like doing the same shtick, but like there were a couple prominent folks, like examples of like actually playing a lot as the Fashion Police with like a little bit of video evidence floating around. They were kind of a Bigfoot-like figure to me, and that was just so cool. I loved it. The acknowledgement that like this is such a big part of the community. People
Mhm.
freaking love fashion in Dark Souls. And
Yeah.
yeah, like
That's so
speaking of grinding,
savage.
it
Getting dung
is.
piles thrown at you. I get really bad like
Yes.
character envy from other players. If I see someone who's like really cool, I'm like, I wish that I had the skills to look like that. And if someone
Yes, yes,
just
yes.
sort of spawned in and was throwing dung at me, I think I'd be like, I'm never playing this game again. I'm so embarrassed. I can't leave my house.
Yeah, someone invades
That's
you, just goes tomato, tomato,
yeah.
tomato,
Oh
and
my
then
god,
kills themselves.
that would be it. I'd be like, I'm quitting gaming forever. Actually, I'm never playing a game again.
That was such a cool and fun story though. I loved pursuing that. That was like early on when I was freelancing. Like that was years ago at this point.
Yeah.
But like I found the post and I was like, I need to talk to this person. And like for multiple conversations, I talked to like 4 different people like who had cited the fashion police and been invaded by them. And one person who claimed they were fashion police. And there was like no video evidence. Like no one had taken a clip. No one had taken a freaking screenshot. There was like nothing to be found until like the last second somebody finally dug up on their hard drive. And we did like a video essay about this too at one point, part of our like Tales of the Hard Drive series, appropriately, with some of the footage. That someone was like, "Oh my god, I finally found it, stuffed on a hard drive on this old computer. I did take a clip of the fashion police invading." And I was like, "Yes, they're real. They exist. Yes, they truly were Bigfoot. It was incredible."
Did they ever invade you, Lauren?
No. I
It was
never
Lauren
had
all
a firsthand
along.
experience.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Maybe it was
Lauren
you.
is the fashion police.
You've never seen me and the fashion police in the same room at the same time.
Nope.
So
Just saying, yeah.
Speaking of like seeing other people's stuff and wanting it, have either of you guys used like, do you like surf the wiki or use like Outfit? Usually there's like a third party tool for certain games, right? Where they're like sample the outfits, like somebody will make a website or a database. Do you guys use those?
I will always look up like
Go,
how to
Kara.
make
Go,
cute
go.
character in what game.
Yes.
Like if it's one with sliders, I'm like how to make nice looking character, because otherwise
How
like
make
you
character look
spin,
good.
yeah, you spin the character to the side and you've got like a hooked nose and like your jaw is like too far forwards and stuff.
You're
And
like gurning or
got a
something.
whole
yeah,
horrible
like
invite.
I don't trust myself with sliders at all. Like
Yeah.
let alone outfits. I'm like someone else needs to do it for me. Dress me like a doll.
This is my perfect chance to gush about Final Fantasy 14. I'm sorry. The thing I love is that you can inspect somebody and you can see not only the armor they're wearing, but what's glamored on top of it. You don't have to look at them and be like, oh my god, that skirt is so cute, but what the hell is it? You could just be like, oh my god, that skirt is so cute. Click on them, right click, examine, hover
Oh,
over the
that's so
skirt,
good.
and then the text will like go from the armor and then it will change into what's glamored on top of it. So like immediately it's like, oh my god, and you can try it on from them as well. So you can be like, oh, right click, try on if you like something they're wearing, and then you can see how it looks on you as well.
That's life changing.
It is so good. It is one of my favorite. It's like such a small quality of life thing that when I was playing Guild Wars 2, Lauren, when I was like playing that for a little while, every time I saw like a cute outfit, I was immediately trying to like right click on the person who was wearing it to like try and examine them and see what they were
Muscle
wearing. And you
memory.
can't do it in Guild Wars 2. You can't see like what someone's wearing. So my boyfriend kept having to tell me. He was like, oh, they're wearing like this thing, or like, oh, I'm not sure what they're wearing actually. I'm like
How do you live
can't
this
just
way?
right. And it's honestly it's such like it's such a blessing.
That is the most
like,
like augmented reality VR MMO isekai ass shit. Just like, what's he wearing? I need to know.
I
It's
need that
great.
for
And
real
you can
life.
right, exactly. And you can save the outfit as well. So you can like save it, so you can try on pieces individually, or if you hit save you can like try on the whole outfit at once if you want to like see how it looks on yourself, and it'll even tell you what color everything is dyed. It will yes, it will even tell you the dye color of each armor piece. It is, the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm like, oh my god, this is like amazing. And then there's a website called Eorzea Collection as well, which is where a lot of people will post like their glamours, and then they always have listed like what pieces they're using, what colors they're dyed. There did used to be a plugin, which you're not supposed to use plugins, naughty, but there is a plugin.
Nobody here does that.
Nobody here does that. There was a plugin that you could use where you could just paste the URL link straight into the game and it would just automatically try it all on for you. And it was amazing. And I miss that plugin. I miss that plugin. So, I mean, sorry, if I had the plugin, I would miss it.
It sounds so
but
cool.
Yeah, it sounds really, really cool. Yeah, because, you know, like fashion and like glamour is such a big part of that game, right? It is. It's endgame. That's what everyone says. Everyone said that fashion is the true endgame.
Is endgame always.
Which I think is the case for like a lot of MMOs and a lot of games in general where you're grinding for armor. Fashion is generally like the end game, right? So I think the fact that the game kind of has a lot of ways for you to easily like dissect other people's outfits is very cool. Very, very cool. Okay, I'm done gushing.
You talked about dyes though, and it reminds me of some of our Destiny 2 players, because I know shaders is what they call them in Destiny 2. They don't refer to them as dyes, they're shaders, but those like a whole thing for them, I know.
Yeah, I forgot that game has like armor. Is it good? I have no idea.
Look, I'm pretty sure the people on our team who play Destiny 2, I'm looking at Tim Clark and Phil Savage.
Sean,
definitely
I think Sean plays it as well.
Sean does also play. Yeah, I think it's a big deal. I know Tim is big into his fashion and Destiny. I'm pretty sure he spent money on it just like we have on our MMOs. So. Are there like having a good set of like dye swatches is kind of a big deal. Do you guys have games where like you feel like it's done particularly well? You're like, oh, there are like so many colors that I want to use. It's wonderful. Or ones where it's like actually shit, kind of.
Okay, I know about shit. I'm so negative. I'm trying to think of like where it's like good, because it's bad in The Sims. Sorry, Sims. It is really bad in The Sims.
Some of the combinations are foul.
They are like disgusting.
Really,
it's also bad in Final Fantasy, to be honest with you. Like I think in WoW, once you have a dye, you have it. Like that's it. You unlock the dye and it's yours for life. Final Fantasy, that is not the case. They are single-use items, which is very annoying. And some of them are like special, which means that you can only obtain them in like really annoying roundabout ways, or you can buy them in the cash shop. You want pure white cash shop? That's like $5 right there for like a pack of 12 or something. Probably not even that many.
Pure white and pure black, always the most highly sought after dye colors for armor. Yeah, everybody just wants to be neutrals all the way down.
Yeah, so Final Fantasies, it is one of the things I don't like about that glamour. Like the transmog system in that game is that the dyes are really bad and they're single use, which is quite frustrating. I'm trying to think what does it well. There are games out there. I'm pretty sure people.
Or do you also have bad ones?
I generally I'm going to say it, I don't love having to use dyes if I want to change the color of something. Like if I have to go out of my way to like find a dye, especially if it's like a certain color, and then go back and like craft something to change it to look that color, that does my head in. I just want to be able to like just like beam a catalog in and try on an outfit as a whole and then be done with it. I don't want to have to like go out and hunt for a very specific, like if you have to farm a material and then make the dye and then dye your clothes, I give up. Right? I'm not doing it.
Never mind.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's just like, I don't want to.
That does remind me, we were both talking about Red Dead, and in that one, you don't dye things. You buy different colors of the same set. Like, you buy the green version of the pants. And
very Rockstar. Very Rockstar coded.
Yeah.
The dyes in the Elder Scrolls Online are not great, in my opinion. They have a lot of choices, and I like part of it is locked behind the subscription, like, and I forget exactly which parts of it, if it's certain dyes or if it's being able to dye outfits instead of armors. Maybe that's what's locked behind the subscription. It's been a while since I've played, so I don't remember. I think maybe it's the, like, you know, you have an armor set and then you have like an outfit set that overrides your armor, right? And I think at least last time I played, I'm pretty sure the way it worked was you had to subscribe if you wanted to dye the outfit sets, but you could dye armors. But all of theirs are very like watered down. They like the color goes over the top of their like, you know, leather jerkin texture, and so like everything winds up kind of muddy and unclear colored. And I'm like, I don't know if that was like a nod to like, you know, realism. Like it probably is more realistic, but I'm like, man, you dye your armor purple and it's like
Brown.
blood purple. Yeah, it's like
Give me
nothing is a
neon.
pure color. Yeah, MMO players just want to be neon
I
all the
just want to be a
time.
neon cowboy. Just let me be a neon cowboy. Is that so difficult? Like,
Literally.
I think I told you about Pancake Sparkle Farts at one point, didn't I, Molly?
yes, the
In
Guild Wars
2.
player. Yes,
The cotton candy colored char. I'll never forget Pancake Sparkle Farts. Pink and blue cotton candy colored.
sparkle farts.
Pancake Sparkle
sparkle
Farts. Or
farts.
Fart Sparkle. It's one or the other. Wonder if that person is still around. Wonder if they still play Guild Wars 2. Shout out to Pancake. What a great person.
Shout out to Pancake.
Gone but never
Yeah, I love
forgotten.
that shit.
Always in our hearts.
We love Pancake sparkle farts. Yeah,
Mhm.
I for me, like a fashion in a game that allows me to do it is like just as big a part of it as anything else, as like absolutely anything else. But I think I prefer like working for fashion that like has stats on it versus just like going into a store and buying it. I don't know, like I like having something to work towards. I like having to like farm for my outfit. I don't know. I think that's like part of the fun for me. It encourages me to play the game a little bit more as well. If like there's a particular piece that I really want, maybe like in Monster Hunter, a monster that I wouldn't really play much, it would like encourage me to go and like fight that monster more because I want the gear, you know?
Yeah.
Kara, do you agree with that after your Monster Hunter experiences of
Yeah.
farming for monster parts?
I think so. I think with like
demoralizing.
it's a bit of both. A lovely mix of both. I think with like a lot of open world games though, having like you say, Molly, something to like work for, to like go out and find or like run a dungeon and then like get it as a reward, it does give you the push that sometimes you need to like get out and go and explore, because otherwise you're just like, I must follow this very linear path
Yes.
of like this specific quest rather than going out and seeing what I can really find. And that's such a plus of a lot of games with massive maps that you can just go and like see, is you never know what you're going to find. And then that's when you come across something like this crazy hat or like a funky pair of shoes that you wouldn't know existed otherwise. And that's such a fun little thing that like so many games tuck away for the players that are like brave enough to go out and find it, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite parts of like hunting for fashion stuff in Dark Souls in particular, is that like some of the stuff that people actually want and like some of the strangest, coolest outfits, like you'll look on like social media and see like what people have on and you're like, oh, I want that. And then you look it up and it's like some random grunt enemy in like X part of the map that like you flew through and you haven't gone back. You're like, okay, now I need to go and grind these like basic soldiers because I just want their stupid hat really badly. And I need to like kill 20 of them before I can finally get it as a drop. And I kind of love that when like I think there's more a trend towards, especially in Elden Ring. I don't know, I shouldn't say this with authority because I still haven't finished Elden Ring.
No,
but
go on. You're right about everything.
I feel like the trend is towards, you know, obviously the boss outfits and whatever are going to be like the coolest, the biggest, whatever. But I love when like some unexpectedly like fun, awesome piece of armor is just from some stupid, basic ass enemy tucked away somewhere.
Like a basic enemy,
that.
a low level dungeon, like something so easy. That is, I do love that.
I feel like that's how like the tricorn was or something in Dark Souls 3. There was something I was hunting for because I wanted to have a pirate outfit in Dark Souls 3 very badly. And it was either like some stupid tattered shirt that I was like, that's a perfect pirate shirt. And I had to go and kill like some absolute trash enemies to get it. But that was a wonderful feeling. Do you guys have any pieces of gear that you've worn because you liked how they look, but they're like trash stats? You were like, it's worth it. I'll wear it.
Yeah, I think I went through a lot of Monster Hunter World in the Anjanath. I think that's what they're called, Anjanath.
Yes,
It's like this gorgeous like black and red armor in World. It's got like a big bow on the back. I loved that armor set. I'm pretty sure it was Anjanath. I hope it was. It might not have been. I forget what monster it was. Forgive me. I wore that armor far too much for like for the stats it was providing, for how far into the game I was going. I wore it for far too long because I loved it. I thought it was so pretty and I just wanted it on like all of the time. So that is definitely one that I wore too much. And then in Final Fantasy 14, there's like this leather. This was back when I was playing A Realm Reborn. Back when that was the only thing that you could play and you couldn't actually glamour until you were level cap, which was level 50. There was like a leather, it's like a little slutty. It's slutty on the men and the women, so it's fine. But it's like a little slutty. It's like this leather subligar and like this leather like harness combo. I wore that for way too long because I thought that I looked pretty. And I'm pretty sure I was still wearing that far beyond the point where I should have been wearing it.
What about you, Kara? Any good fashion, bad stats?
I've got bad fashion, no stats. In the sense of
no.
like a lot of the, like going back to Red Dead, a lot of the like legendary animal hide gear that you can make is ugly. It's so ugly. Like the hats from the animal hides are like stretched out and they've got like flat faces and they're awful. But the legendary white bison hat is like, it looks a bit like a Razor headset because it's got like ears and little horns and it's got like
the
long...
e-girl of Red Dead Redemption.
It's so like horrendously early 2000s scene kid fluffy white hat, and it's honestly one of the ugliest things I think I've ever seen in a game. And as soon as the tracker was like, you could make this, after I gave him the hide, I was like, I need it. I have never needed anything more. And I think it like generally just increases your ability to withstand cold weather, which you like hardly need unless you're going up to the mountains. But I was like, I'm going to be swanning around in this stupid hat until the day that I die. It's so bad.
That is the other side of fashion in these games though, right? It is like the immersive, really cool armor, really pretty armor, and then there is the side of fashion that is like, I'm gonna look as stupid as I possibly can. Like Final Fantasy has like full elephant suit. It has like a full rabbit suit. There's like very like memey like pieces that you can pick up. There's like a frog suit as well. So you'll just see some people in like an outfit with like a big frog head or like a big elephant head or something. Like I love both sides. I love and respect. And sometimes I do feel like I'm the goofy one. A lot of the time I am like the cool armor, pretty looking or like casual like fashion Easter in a game, but then sometimes I'm a little silly, you know. Sometimes
You just
I'm
got to get a bit whimsical with it if you can.
Yeah, sometimes you have to be a little bit whimsical, and I occasionally feel whimsical, but they're always the ones that you remember as well. You never remember the really really cool looking people or the like the really pretty ones. You always remember that weird guy in like the pink bikini, like the guy that picks like the biggest race possible and slaps a bikini on them and calls it a day. That's the one you always remember.
I don't think I have any particular armor piece that I've worn, at least none that comes to mind that's like terrible stats, but I wore it because of what it looked like. But in crafting games in general, I will like skip a tier of armor if at all possible, if I don't like how it looks, because that's part of the progression of those games, right? Is you make leather armor, then you make iron armor, then you make whatever's other next material armor, and you just like keep going up by like whatever materials you've like unlocked the ability to process. And yeah, if one of them looks bad, I will wear the lower level longer just to skip it, if at all possible, if it isn't like tied to some other survival element where it's like you need it to survive the cold. Like, gosh, dang it.
Like, please don't do that to me. It's like how I hate wearing helmets in Minecraft because
Yeah.
Oh, they're
it
so
covers
bad.
I
Absolutely
hate
not.
wearing armor in Minecraft because
Yeah.
it covers up my cool skin.
What do I even have the skin for?
Yeah,
Literally.
right. If I'm just gonna put some enchanted diamond armor over the top of it and just look like every other bozo that plays this game, what the hell?
Mhm.
You know what we haven't mentioned at all? Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh my god. Why have we not mentioned Baldur's Gate 3? Okay, I like a lot of the fashion in Baldur's Gate 3,
Yes.
but I really hate having to put armor on my companions. I would avoid doing it for a very, very long time because I like their default outfits.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I don't want to replace it with stuff. I don't know. And it's like the outfit that I started with, I forget what class I played, sorcerer.
I was
I
sorcerer as
really
well.
yeah, I love the outfit that you start with as a sorcerer. And I was very reluctant to upgrade that to something else. And then I was very reluctant to also put anything on my companions. I wish that game, Baldur's Gate 3 does not have a transmog system, does it? Or does it now since I played it? I don't think that game has a transmog system.
It's been a minute since I've gone back to it. I can't say that for sure, but I don't think it did originally.
I don't think it did originally. I haven't played it for a while, so I don't know if that's the thing that they added. But that was something that I was kind of missing because, especially with like your companions as well. To me, like the way that they're designed is the way that I want to keep them. So that was like I didn't really like that. Although I do love the armor in Baldur's Gate 3. I think it's very pretty.
I love it too. And I will say, like, the alternative to grinding for a particular look is making certain decisions to get a certain look in Baldur's Gate 3. Because, like, early on, if you want Minthara's, like, camp clothes, the, like, wacky, super, like, gothic ass, like, leather thing that she wears, you kind of have to kill her. And I don't know if I was going to. I probably would have anyway and fought her, but I, like, definitely did because I was like, Astarion needs to wear that. So
yeah,
he looks great in it.
Yes.
Cool. Then, since we're getting close on time, guys, tell me what you're currently playing, like, and pursuing fashion in. Like, Mollie, you don't even get to answer.
Yeah, I'm not answering. You already know.
Kara, what are you currently playing and pursuing?
I feel like a broken record, but Red Dead Online, because they've just released their new clothes for this month, and there's like this corset that I want so bad. So I have to brave leaving the camp and getting attacked by cougars again, so I can go into town and get this corset for my character.
Getting mauled by a cougar out of nowhere is no joke in Red Dead Online.
No, I genuinely, I left the camp the first time I went online. I stepped out of camp. There was an alligator on the floor. My horse bucked me off, and I got attacked by a cougar. So I was like,
and all of a sudden you're just like ragdolling, like it just tackled you to the ground, and like
I was like, another player's gonna get me, or it's gonna be this cougar. I'm gonna take the cougar today.
Everybody that listens to this podcast knows what my answer is as well. I'm no better than Mollie. Right now it's Sky Children of the Light for me.
Yeah.
It has that system of like traveling spirits with their like special limited cosmetics will come back every 2 weeks, certain ones, and you don't know which one's going to be. And yeah, so I'm building up my outfit category or catalog there because I don't have a lot of cape colors. I need like a proper like outfit on the inside. Those are kind of hard to unlock. And then like special different cape colors because there's no dye situation in that game. It's all just like whatever you've unlocked and whatever it looks like. That's how it operates. So, well, thank you, Kara, for coming on to talk about.
Thank you for having me. This has been so fun. I get to play dress up with my friends.
Yes. You better be showing me your Red Dead Online catalog soon. And some
every time you all talk about Red Dead Online, it makes me want to play it.
Please do. Please play, because then we can all do southern accents and do fashion shows, and it will be great.
I definitely want to hear both of you attempt a southern accent. Not right now. I'm not going to make you do that to yourselves, but I want to hear that in private. So, as usual, you can find Mollie and Kara and I writing on PCGamer.com, where we have all our usual news, reviews, guides, opinions, all that wonderful stuff. And you will be able to talk with Mollie and I about this week's episode at forums.pcgamer.com. Thank you guys.
Bye.